The best example for myself is me, because it's probably the human I know more. I try to understand why am I playing poker. Well, I'm playing poker for a need, probably myself, but of course I enjoy that strategy game. I started as a hobby. I was playing with chips. Come on, you know. But I just went to play poker with money because I said, oh, come on, there is people playing this game without the knowledge to play it. So let's try. You have finance situation. Let's try and play it. No, but I really think that I don't know. Most of the people in a casino that come regularly, yeah, I would say they have like a gambling problem, you know. But I met many people with different type of careers and studies and everything that they ended in poker because they were smart people. They liked the logic of the game, and they were getting more money working in poker than working for the career they've been studying. So I decided that I was going to go into the construction business. I was going to import to Spain stones for construction. With my luck, we got the construction crisis in Spain. So after not too long, you know, I have to give it away. You know, I have to stop that because I lost lots of money on that business. Basically, I went bankrupt. Okay. But when I was about to finish, let's say, that stage of my life, that year the business went very bad. I lost lots of money because I couldn't sell most of the things I produced in Indonesia. Let's say that I lost the number of 5 digits, you know, which is very bad for a young guy economy like me, okay? Basically all my savings, and I even got a debt with government, with taxes and everything. I said, what am I gonna do, man? I mean, and at the same time, I was having a very bad time with my relationship, you know? So work was going bad, love was going bad, everything was going bad. So I started feeling depressed, sad. We broke the relationship. I closed the company, and I decided that because I've been buying and selling products for 10 years, I thought, you know what? I don't want to buy and sell nothing. I don't want to think what to buy and what to sell. I just want to be 1 year touching my balls doing nothing. And suddenly, I went back to Spain, and so I had this friend called Martina. She's a very good friend of mine. She told me, come to my house, you know, you have a bedroom here and stay as much as you want and just think about what happened to you and everything. Okay, to understand how did I end up in a poker table, I should explain what I was doing before, you know, because in a way I was forced to play poker for a living, which is not the best thing to do, you know. When you need money, you shouldn't play poker to get the money. I was living in Bali with, I would say he's my best friend, even though I don't see him too often. He's called Joel Dumas. He's a guy from Canada. He's an amazing artist, very good creative. You can make probably like a movie of his life. And we were sharing this villa. It was his villa. The last 2 years, I was invited to his house. He said, no, don't rent nothing. Just come to my house. I have lots of bedrooms with jacuzzis, bubble bathrooms and everything. So I didn't have to pay rent. And I was with my friends, so it was perfect. And there was one afternoon, he was on the computer, on Facebook. And I never had Facebook before. And he was playing on this Singer poker. You know Singer? And I said, what are you doing gambling here? I mean, let's go to the swimming pool. We have a great day, sunny day. And he got like, Carlos, this is not gambling, you know, this is mathematics, this is psychology. And I said, oh, whatever. He said, oh, sit with me here 1 second and you'll see. And I sat with him and I watched him play on Singer poker, which is probably the worst place you can start playing poker. And then I was curious about the strategy at the end, because even though people are playing with play money and everything, I like the idea that you have to bet it depending on the cards were coming on the flop, the turn, or the pre-flop thing and everything. So I told him, it's an interesting game. I don't have to play with money, so it's safe, you know, so I can do that for entertainment. So I opened that account and I play for fun, on the Singa, going up the levels. I started to read a little bit in the Facebook groups about poker. I wanted to know where to play poker. And I found this group called Barcelona Poker Players. And when you add the group, you can see the guy that created the group. And I saw that this guy had friends in common with me. So I talked to him. And I explained him that I was playing Singa. He had a laugh, of course. He said, no, stop it. You're not going to learn nothing there. At least go to PokerStars or something like that. You might start learning something from there. And then I did that. I opened an account. And I couldn't believe I was losing so much, I mean, not so much because the quantities were ridiculous, but I was the king in Singa, one of the first ones in the world, from the first 100, And suddenly they were crushing me in 1-2, NL2 at Hold'em there. I said, okay, maybe I wasn't that good. One day I was in Ibiza and he told me, there is one course starting next week or something like that. And it was the same week of the Sonar in Barcelona. So I said, okay, let's go there. I go to the Sonar, have some fun with my friends, and I do the course. The course was like 30 euros, something like that. For education, I mean, information, I don't need to read, this is good, and they're going to explain everything to me. I'm the kind of guy that I like to get my information by talking to the people, because I'm a lazy reader. Okay. I went to the class with no pencil, no papers and everything. I came late, of course. And the teacher told me, where are you coming from? I said, I'm coming from Ibiza. I said, you just came to my course from Ibiza? I said, yeah. I said, why? I said, why not? You're teaching to play poker, no? I want to learn. So I did that course, which was very basic, but at least it gave you some discipline. And then the next step was basically playing a casino, I remember, I think the first time I played in a casino, it was Barcelona. So the first cash game I played, it was 2-5. And I remember I was shaking like a motherfucker, I mean, I was nervous when I had the hand, or when I didn't have the hand, my hand was like that, making stream bets and everything, But it was a nice experience, all the adrenaline inside and everything. I love it, We used to play like little home games, in Ibiza. I didn't know nobody there, but one day the plumber came to fix something in my house. And then he was seeing that I was playing, I don't know, maybe a sit and go or a tournament or something like that. And the guy told me, oh, do you like to play poker? I said, yeah. I said, well, we meet every Friday with some friends in a house here next door, next building. I went there to try. And I was so lucky because basically I didn't have too much knowledge, but I was lucky that they had less knowledge than me. Because these people didn't even have the curiosity of learning or reading nothing or getting any course. So at least I knew about the positions, what was the cutoff, what was an open race, But I was winning them because I had an edge versus them. So that was the experience like in home games. But suddenly Ibiza, a casino, that was, I think, roughly like 5 years ago, I'm not very sure about it, start making Hold'em. And they did open the poker with sit and goes. They didn't have cash. So the sit and goes they were doing in the casino of Ibiza, they were 100 euros sit and goes, 100 plus 10 for the rake. Who do I meet there? Tony Mook, the comedian, the comedian I met on the Facebook thing. And I said, Tony? He says, Carlos? Oh my God, I'm fucked. I'm not going to win that sit and go, he said to me, And that was very good for my image, because people thought I was good, which I wasn't, No, at all, of course. How can you think about the money when you don't have knowledge? It was more about because you like the strategy of the game, Because I saw there was a psychological part of it and a mathematical, but the mathematical, I didn't know too much yet, but psychological, I knew a little bit because I've been a salesman all my life, so I could try to manage people's mind, like talking to them a little bit, trying to get some information. The cash game now opens from 10 o'clock p.m. and closes like 4 p.m., let's say, okay? So the sessions are very short. Maybe the sit and goes were starting at 8, 9, I don't remember, that was a long time ago. But I had time to play like 3, maximum 4, if I was kicked out early in the first ones, So by playing all these 3 days, I started building a little bit of bankroll, you know. Then I started to get interested in playing more. But then, suddenly, Ibiza, after 1 year, opened cash game. And I never really played cash game seriously. Yeah, that was that only day in Barcelona. That was fucking frightened, scared about playing. But of course, the level, if you get out from Barcelona or Madrid, the level of poker in any other casino is very low. Yes, the capitals have like higher level because there's more grinders around and everything. So they opened the 2-5, and I started paying 2-5 with no bankroll because I was broke, basically. In the casino of Ibiza, you could use a credit card to get money out as like a sell, and if you could give the money back again, you know, and they canceled the sell from the credit card. But as I told you, I didn't have any knowledge of bankroll management, so I was starting with 100 BBs, so 500 euros, boom, there, with no knowledge. And at the beginning was going okay, because the level of the people was very low, and I still had an edge. There was this day that I got like a little downswing. Little downswing means that 2 weeks downswing, you know, 2 weeks downswing, going with 100 BBs or with 9K, that means you can crash your bankroll in nothing. And that's what happened to me. I crashed my cards, you know. So basically I was bankrupt, no more credit and nothing like that. And then suddenly I got this note from the bank, from all taxes. You know, when you have properties, and I believe in England it's the same, you have to pay taxes every year from the properties. And I didn't pay those taxes for 5-6 years, you know, something like that. So the debt gets bigger because you pay like an interest and everything. I said, oh my God, they were going to take my house. I mean, my flat. And then I started stressing and everything. So I said, okay. But my poker little by little level was increasing, you know. So I was a bit scared. I was going to count in not too much time just in the poker, unless I start to work for something else. And I didn't feel like working for nothing, because I've been working for myself since I'm 21. I'm 37 right now. So I said, oh, I can have a boss. If I have a boss, I'm going to kill the boss, you know. After 2 days, I'm going to tell something wrong to him, because he's going to give me orders, and I don't like taking orders from nobody. So I better learn quick. I didn't have that much knowledge about poker yet, you know. Some tips from Menda, because I was a good friend, but then I met Talai. And Talai is a guy that is so much fun to talk with, you know. He has so much knowledge, you know. He was one of the first ones playing poker online in Spain. So basically my process of learning has been like that, talking to the best players in Spain, and they were telling me the things for free. You know, usually you have to pay so much for these coachings, you know. And I was getting all the information just by friendship, you know. In poker, I think you always learn until the day you die, okay? Of course, I don't have those questions anymore, but it doesn't mean that I know everything about poker, you know, because I really think that poker is changing all the time, and the tendencies in the tables and everything. So you have to renovate yourself, and you have to study the tendencies to see which way is better to win money now or not. You know what I mean? He told me, Carlos, you should see 4 years ago online. It was like Christmas time. I mean, you didn't need to think too much. They were giving the money away. And now it's so much more difficult, you know? And every year is much more difficult, because there's many kids studying and getting more information, because now there is much more information. Before there was no information. The first book I had, it was the Harrington, you know, volume about tournaments and everything, which is not a very good book right now. It's very nitty, you know. But I think, I don't know, that's my opinion. I don't know. But in Spain, there weren't books in Spanish. There weren't translations. Now there is translation. Well, the only motivation I had is I have to pay this debt. Otherwise, they were going to take my house. But many people were saying, you're crazy, Carlos. What are you doing? You're losing your mind. You don't have bankroll. You're doing that. So if I don't do it, I lost my house. I mean, I don't have nothing to lose. The only thing I can lose is my credit cards and to have another debt extra with the bank. But if I don't try it, they will take everything I have, which is my house, you know. So I had to do it. For me, it was a huge relief the minute I pay all these things. And I didn't get any note from government that they were going to take my house. That day, we were talking with Menda one day. There's a saying in Spain that says, si juegas por necesidad, perderás por obligación. That means if you play because you need it, you will lose it, basically, okay? It made me learn a lot, not just about the poker knowledge and everything, about to control my emotions, okay? Because when you're beginning, it's easier that you get tilted. You get tilted. This is a typical thing. Why you pay me with that? Why you pay me with that? You know, these stupid things that any amateur says, you know? And the people were telling me, Carlos, when you get tilted, it's better to go home. And I was thinking, I can't go home, I have to pay that debt, you know? So I think, okay, if that's the problem, it's an emotional problem. So I have to work on my emotional problem because I need to pay the debt for the government not to take my house, or the bank not to take my house, okay? So what I need to do is work on me. I was learning about my mistakes. So what I try to do is every time I see a mistake, I try to be very critical on me. Because at the beginning, I used to use the same excuses that everybody else. I got a downswing, I got a downswing, you know. So many people that says I got a downswing is bullshit, you know. Most of the time, you just think about that bad beat that they give it to you, but you don't see that hand you could play in a better way. You could get more profit, or maybe you could do a bluff here and make that guy fold and get that money, that pot. So every time I did a mistake, I wrote in a notebook and how much money was that mistake. Just to count how much money mistakes at the end of the month. And this is the mistakes that I see by myself. Could be many mistakes that I don't see. You know, so when you start seeing that how many hundreds and thousands in mistakes, you know, they say, okay, I need to be better here. I need to be better here. Basically, I learned to play angry, but not tilt. I mean, I was angry because I was losing, but at the end, I could make that it didn't change my game. That helped me in many ways in life, because I see poker as life, you know, a little bit. The control of emotions works for life too. Sometimes you get angry very quick with people because they think different than you, and now I get to be more tolerant, you know. I get to hear my friends in a different way, my wife in a different way, and try to understand why they see it that way. Even though we don't think the same way, I try to understand why this human is thinking this way and why he's behaving this way. Why do I come to London? It's just my choice number one in Europe, I think. Well, I haven't been playing outside from Europe, to tell you the truth. I thought about going to Vegas this trip, but at the end I end up in Europe. I mean, in London, Europe. But I don't know. There's many reasons. I always like to come to England. I think I've been coming to London every year of my life since I'm 12, you know, at least once. So, but not for playing cards, it was for other reasons. London, as far as I've seen and I heard from many other players, probably is the best place to play poker in Europe, you know? Especially for the low games, you know, because here the games are very deep. In Barcelona, well, I'm living this winter in Barcelona. We moved to Barcelona with my wife, and I usually play 2-4 NL400, and in Ibiza I usually play 2-5 NL500. I would say that the 1-2, the NL200 from London is the same as the NL400, NL500 from Spain, because people here, they play quite deep. Especially in Spain, the sessions are not as long as London. The capitals like Madrid, Barcelona, or Mallorca does it as well. It's a big population, 1 million, you know. They start poker at 4 p.m. and that's the earliest you can play poker in Spain. And most of them, they close like 3:30, 4 o'clock at night, you know, in the morning. So London is 24 hours. I've got a lot of resistance to play many hours, you know. As I told you before, the last week I played like 107 hours in 1 week in London. In Spain, I do from 120 to 180 hours a month. But imagine you start batting a session and you start down like 200 BBs, you know. If your session is short, when you're playing live, you're playing like, depending on the casino and the dealers, you're playing from 20 to 25 hands per hour. So the more hands you play, the more chance you get to get the money back from that person that is not supposed to have the same level as you, you know. So that's why London is good. And I can do many hours. And the dealers in England are quicker than basically in Spain. So people who go to a casino to gamble, most of them, they have money, you know. Some of them would say that the darkest part of the casino is the people that doesn't have too much money and have a gambling problem and they waste their lives there, you know. But there's another big social group, poker, bringing that social group that they go there because they know it's a skill game, and I don't know. I heard that many times, even though many dealers, they say that we all that are working here, even though the dealers, we have a gambling problem, But I'm not agree, tell you the truth. I did start a losing session. I was losing like 1K in 1-2, which is like 500 BBs, a lot of money for the level. And I said, fucking hell, I don't want to go with the losing session, just as a challenge, Because I tried to minimize the loss of that session. So I did the record this trip, I have to say. I had the record in 34 hours before, to try to come back from a session. I said, as soon as I get fucking £2, I get away from here, just to make it green in the software, And then this time I had to do 44 hours, 44 hours. It was so hard, And the best table, it was the last one. It was an amazing table. That's where probably I got all my money back. And myself, I'm the kind of player that if I get a little bit of variance or I made mistakes, I try to play for a few more days. I'm tighter just to get some confidence, because the confidence in a poker player, I think, is very important, And now you're just sitting in a chair, they bring you food, and the only thing you do unhealthy is being awake, and smoking the cigarettes outside, You can be more unhealthy when you're younger, believe me. So, and at the end, I'm getting money for my family. That's the thing. That's the important thing. And it's not something that I'm willing to do again. It's not that I say, hey, let's see the next record. I don't want to do more records, believe me. You have to have a life outside from the poker too. Some people get into that circle is just poker, just poker, just poker. Even me, sometimes my wife says, can you stop talking about poker, please? You know what I mean? And then I realize she's right. I'm too involved in that gaming thing, the poker. That's what I'm going now for holidays, 20 days to Tallinn, Indonesia. I want to see my friends again. I want to see my best friend Joel, the guy that teach me to play poker. Well, teach me. Yeah, it's his fault, But I always thank him. Say, thank you, man, because you saved my ass. They were going to take my house. He's laughing always about it, because even though he told me this is about psychology, mathematics, he didn't have a clue. He was doing that for fun. Okay, I'm going to give you a very good example. Okay, there's a poker player that I met in Madrid when 3 years ago I used to go once in a while to play there. His name is called Gorrioncillo. Okay, he doesn't play poker anymore. He's in the betting business, with a company. But he used to be one of the big stars from Spain many years ago. And I get to know him in Madrid. We went party, blah blah blah, and I had a good feeling with him. And one day, we were talking in Ibiza when he came for holidays, and he told me that he hated poker. I mean, he doesn't like playing poker. And for me, because at that moment, I enjoyed playing poker so much, I thought, fuck, what a shame, man. He's one of the stars for me. And he's saying that he doesn't like poker, he just has to do it for the money. After 1 year and a half, when I met him again in Ibiza, I told him, I understand you very well right now. I don't enjoy poker the same way I used to, For me, it's just a stage of my life. I know I will not play poker for all my life. It's a stage of my life that I needed to do to go back in the track. A drunk girl from New Zealand, and she knocked out another girl, She threw her from one table to another table. I never seen that in my life before. It was like we were in a table and there was this guy drinking Italian, having a bad time because the girlfriend, they broke with the girlfriend or something, and they were supposed to meet that day, and the ex-girlfriend didn't show, and things like that. And then suddenly there was this fat big girl from New Zealand, that it seems that she wanted to have conversation with him, and they were getting very well, like friendly and everything. Oh, yeah, she's a bitch, you don't have to pay attention to her, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about it, you'll be okay. Suddenly, there's one girl that comes and sits next to another player. Here in England, you can sit next to somebody, giving some company from behind. In Spain, that's not allowed. That's why for me, it was weird to see that situation. That girl sits next to another player, and the Italian guy says, can I talk to the floor, And the floor comes, I want that girl out from the casino, please. I said, what is wrong here? this is my ex-girlfriend, you know. Basically, that girl just sat down behind another guy that she didn't know, pretending that he was with him, you know. So the ex-girlfriend was there, and I said, you can't sit there, the floor says you. And she goes behind to another table, but watching, like, the girl flirting with the guy. Or maybe they weren't flirting, but they were talking, and she got jealous. And she comes, and she said, you know, you're talking to my boyfriend? I said, and I don't know, she couldn't be there in the game because they were playing hands and everything. So they told her to get out and everything. And they had like a hand, something like that, you know. But the New Zealand girl was strong and she was huge. She was like a sumo fighter. So the English girl that was with Italian did something wrong to her, and she just went with the hand and smacked her to the other table. She literally fly, and everybody stand up in the casino, started clapping, and then she got even like the ego was going up, and she was, yeah, New Zealand.